Hello and welcome to the Joy CEO podcast. I'm your host, Lori Pine. And if you are new here today, you are in for a treat. We are going to talk to Anne Hoeger, who is a marketing expert. She's got a stellar career that you are all going to want to hear about. And we are delighted to have her. If you've been around with me for a while, welcome back. You know I love you. And let's get into it. Anne, welcome.
Thank you.
So glad to have you here with me today. So you and I have recently met. We are both part of a community of amazing women. I've been so impressed by this group of women. And it was such a treat to get to meet you because you too have this very CPG, consumer product goods background. And I felt like talking to you was like just this kindred spirits kind of meeting.
Same. I'm very excited about today. It's so nice to meet another CPG executive.
Yes. And so you came up through the ranks, and I just want to make sure that the audience understands first as an engineer and then made this pivot into marketing.
Yes. Shockingly, at P&G, there are a lot of chemical engineers that move into brand management. So I was like, Chemi isn't that big. So I went from working in a research lab in undergrad to then interning with 3M for a year. And then I worked at Cargill and Teamster plants for 4 years. And I went back to business school and then pivoted into marketing. But it's like the perfect blend of art and science. So I loved it. It's like you have to really understand the mechanics of like ROI and how a business works. But then it's like the art of really understanding a campaign. So I love working in marketing. I think it's super fun.
Amazing. And so from there, you have pretty much stayed in marketing and had just this storied career.
Yeah, it's been really fun. So I went from P&G to a couple of other CPG companies. I've then worked in innovation and in and out of advertising agencies. And then the past decade, I've been doing fractional work, which suddenly took off. Like a lot of people joined my party in the past year or two and like, no, I've been doing fractional work for a decade. And more in the last 5 years, more focused in private equity, which is fun because you're going in like post-merger integration or a recent acquisition or a turnaround situation. So it's part change management, part marketing. Nobody thinks they have a change management issue. So you get hired for marketing, but a lot of times you're taking a team through a change and really trying to help guide them and lead them through it.
Yes. So you've been a trailblazer long before you even knew you were trailblazing. I love that phrase.
Got on my trail. I'm like, wait, what?
Yes. So let's go back. Was there a moment when you're in these great CPG companies that people would just really love to work for, and you're an engineer? Was there a moment when you realized, nope, this isn't for me? I want to make the switch.
To go into fractional?
To go into brand marketing.
Oh, I would say I was in business school. So I actually initially went back to business school to go into investment banking. And I went out to Wall Street for a week and it's super cool. And like 10 of us went and half the group went into investment banking. And like, it's okay. But I just started taking some marketing classes and I'm like, I love marketing. And it's
so something lit up in you.
Yeah, I love it because it's the combination of art and science. So you still get to do the heavy analytics. And like, I love running a business. I understand working. I love working with businesses, but I love like the part of marketing where you're taking an insight and turning it either a new product, a new campaign, or even an insight on an organization on how do I change the culture and move it forward. So I love the art and science of like the mechanics of a business combined with the art of human insight and leveraging that and bringing it to life. I love it.
What a duality. I don't know that everybody can do that, but it sounds like you sure can. You sure can do that.
Yeah.
So when I was looking over, some of your experience and the things that you've done, and then the previous conversation we had, it seems like one of your paths is that you can really take a look at a business where there might either be a broken parachute or like in the, that could be the case in PE, or the other situation is you take on these brand new situations where you're actually building something and creating something new. Is that how you would characterize the two patterns that you go after? Something's either broken or you're building something.
Yeah, it's something that's high growth. It's either high growth because it's new, like the launch of a cruise line, or it's high growth because it's broken and you're going in to look for patterns like, okay, here's what's working. We want to amplify that and do more of it. Here's what's not working. How do we pivot and tweak that? And then how do I help guide the team to go through that? Because if you don't have the culture going with you, as you know, it's just not going to happen. So it's like you can have the best investment thesis in the world, but if you don't have the team behind it, it's just not going to happen. So you're trying to figure that out. And then as you're looking at talent, I do build, borrow, buy. So can I build the internal team, or also looking through the ecosystem? Can I build the current agencies? Like, what training do they need? Maybe they need something else. Or borrow, can I get temporary talent, whether it's freelancers or contractors, to kind of help us the next 3 to 6 months as we're trying to go? Or buy is bring in new talent. Can I buy AI to help us with some of it? Can I buy another company to help us close those gaps? So it's looking at build, borrow, buy as you're stair-stepping those changes at like 3, 6, 9 months.
Yes. And how do you navigate some of the cultural changes with some of these changes? Because, with any change, there's emotion and there's disruption. And how do you navigate that?
I mean, it's really hard. So you're trying to figure out, like, hey, what's important to this other person? So if there's a skills gap, like, hey, do you want to close the skills gap? So you're looking at, do they have the ability to do their current job? If they need more training, do they have the aptitude and attitude to get there? And then working with them, like, hey, if you do this, this is available. Or understanding, here's the current ecosystem, and how do I navigate this change through that ecosystem? How do I, and looking at like people, product, process. So do we have the right processes in place? A lot of times you don't. Like, you're in high growth, your private equity has just bought this team. They're a super talented team, or they wouldn't have been purchased. The company wouldn't have been purchased.
Right.
It's new. It's like, hey, we're on a high growth trajectory. It might be helpful to staff an agency council where we're all getting together once a week and talking about what's going on. If we're looking at process, do we have a creative brief? Do we have a marketing plan? Do we have processes in place that empower? It's scary when a new process comes in or a new person comes in, but it's highlighting like, hey, this is going to ultimately empower all of us. This will give us better communication. Rolling out the different plans and getting everybody aligned and onboarded and showing them, hey, here's what's in it for you. Here's what's in it for the team. Here's what's in it for you. Here's what's in it for the organization. And you're taking baby steps to get people aligned and get the whole company to move forward.
Yes. And it sounds easy, but we know that is like moving the Titanic, right? That is really like a very big, tall order.
Well, and asking people, are you up for this? So I remember going into a turnaround and talking, I think the company had a huge revenue drop, and talking to the CEO, like, are you sure you're up for this? Like, we might have to swap out some agencies. We might have to swap out talent. Like, this is going to be a tectonic shift to do this. And ultimately she's like, I'm not. And so I think but that's helpful for everybody. Or if you're working, I'll go into an ecosystem, you might have a dozen different agencies. And you're like, hey, we're going to change to this. We're going to add an agency council. We're going to start using a briefing process. How do you like it? And then like, hey, are you up for this? Like, who in your team do you want to be on this? How does it look? And just being really transparent, like, hey, growth is hard. Like, you think you're up for it. And I also know I'm more on the side where I think it's exciting. I've done a lot of it. I think it's going to be fun, but also on your team, I'm like, I know everybody's not in the same place I am.
Right.
So I want you to go on this journey with me. I think it's going to be really fun. We're going to have high growth. We're going to be changing things, but let me know what you need. Like, are you with me? What do you need? What does help look like? Like, I want you to go on this journey with me, but I also know, like, I look at change and think, oh, this is going to be fun. And in the hard way that not everybody's not always in that camp. They're like, whoa.
Right. You're reminding me of a dear friend of mine who loves running marathons. And so she just ran Tokyo and she's like, this is so great, as her feet are bloodied, as, she can't walk, as she's, all these things have happened, right? She just flew 24 hours. And me, I can barely run to the mailbox. And I'm like, yeah, no. So I would not be up for that. But, I understand. So great comparison of, are you really up for this? And kudos to the CEO who can tap out and say no. And then that gives you permission to bring in somebody who actually is and can be up for the task.
Or you adjust your goals, or you adjust how you're approaching it. It's like, hey, for us to get here, here's what the stair steps look like. Are you with me on this? It could be an incremental investment. Like, hey, if you want this growth, it's going to cost this. If you want to compress the timeline to go in half, we can do that, but we've got to bring in some outside resources to help us. So I find transparency on it and talking through the specifics and the logistics, it's helpful for everybody. Because
so helpful.
Then if you're on the same page. And if you're not, then you can also negotiate that. So
yes, giving options with real clarity.
Yeah.
Yes. Sounds like a superpower for you. So you've talked about being able to assess talent quickly and closing gaps. What do you see most often? Is it a skills gap? Is it confidence? Like what's happening? Is it something else entirely?
I think when you're going in, it's like I'm very fortunate to have been trained at P&G. So you just and you're out of Campbell's and some other places, also like unbelievable training.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times people just aren't aware of their gaps, or they're not aware of, as you look at process, like, hey, here's what a great marketing plan looks like. Here's how you can drive stronger integration by having an agency council. Here are best practices to run an agency council. So I think kind of like a skills process gap, if that makes sense. Right. People have gotten where they are doing what works. They're just a lot of times just not aware of another way to do things.
Agreed. Yes. You and I talked about how you came from P&G and I came from the Coca-Cola company, and that's like getting a PhD.
And you really don't realize how fortunate you are until you leave and go other places.
Yes.
You just don't realize that. And then you go other places and you're like, oh my gosh, there's
Holy
so much
smokes.
I can do to help you with consumer insight. There's so much I can do to help you with, like, hey, let's really optimize this marketing plan and look at our journey and figure out how to reach this consumer across the journey. But people just aren't aware. They are doing the best they can with skills that they've learned. And it's just making them aware of, hey, here are some other approaches that you can take.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Okay. Let's talk about something that might be really near and dear to your heart. You built quite a community called Swim.
Yes.
And I love this for you. So Savvy Women in Marketing, and it has over 1,000 senior women, and you've been running it for 17 years.
Yes, it's gone through a lot of iterations. So it started as just like 5 women at a happy hour. And I thought,
I love that.
Theme is more fun than just going to happy hour. Everybody's putting their caveat at the swim meet. Haha. So like there wasn't a lot of thought into the name initially. And then people are like, oh, when are we doing this again? I'm like, I don't know, next month. And then I remember I'm like, I have to go from an email to an Evite. So we did that. And then it was too big for that. So then we moved to Eventbrite. And then during COVID, we started doing salons of like 5 to 20 women because like I took teams remote and I was like, I want everybody to have a good experience and I want to deliver my number. Right now, I don't know if either one is going to happen. And I'm like, who else has run remote teams? So we probably did 10, more than maybe 20 salons during COVID. Like, hey, Lori, what are you doing that's worked? Or what are you doing that just as importantly hasn't worked? We did the consumer behavior has changed during COVID. how are you adjusting your media plans? How are you adjusting marketing? Like, what does that look like? So the salons are meant to be just kind of like a book club without the book. We just did
Right.
one on accountability with Carol McLythot, who's like amazing. She used to be chief of staff at Wrigley. So it's like, you have multiple generations in the workplace. We're all coming from different places, but how do you drive accountability and what does that look like? What's worked, what hasn't worked, what are the processes, and how is everybody approaching it? So yeah, it's that we've moved more towards these curated salons, and I find them to be, it's like getting a PhD, because it's
Love
like
that.
you get to be with like 5 to 20 other executives, and it's just a real discussion on what's working, what's not working on a variety of different topics.
And it's these incredible women who are doing these incredible things who
Yes.
it sounds like are very openly sharing what
Yes.
it is that they're walking through.
Yep. Last fall, we were doing them on value creation and private equity. So about, depending on who you ask, there's not great data on it, but half the portfolio companies are underwater. So it's how do you create value? Sometimes there's a perception that you can only create value through an integration or through cost cutting. But as you know, there's a lot you can do with marketing. It's like, how can we target better? How can we reach her better? How can we refine our marketing plans? So we were having salons on what can you do to drive growth and drive value within those portfolio companies. So it's been really cool. And you get to learn from other people. It broadens your lens. Like I learned from you, you learn from me. Together we raise each other up and we have a different perspective.
I love that so much. So, for anybody who's listening that's in the marketing world and they want to be a part of something like Swim or
Yeah.
Swim, what's your recommendation for them?
Reach out to me if you're an executive. And it's also just networking and trial and error and trying different stuff. So, like, I'm in 4 different marketing AI mastermind groups, and 2 of them I co founded, 2 other ones I joined. And that was also like, hey, I'm trying to figure out marketing or in AI. Are you trying to figure out marketing in AI? One of them is like women I worked with at P&G that I've known 10, 20 years. And so we just outright say, here's what I'm trying, here's what's worked, here's what hasn't worked. Somebody walked us through like her line review deck to say, here's where I used AI. And I was like, oh, I wouldn't have even thought of using AI like that. Like it's
Amazing.
so so I'm like, reach out to your peers, form a group if you don't have one. The West Coast mastermind I'm in is unbelievable because the people out of Silicon Valley on AI are
Holy smokes. Brilliant.
how do you think of this?
Is this what
Like
you do in your spare time?
literally one guy built a 10-person advertising agency over Christmas when he was bored. You have to see this. It's unbelievable.
Oh my
It's
gosh.
so somebody else, a full-time CMO, built this assessment that was incredible. Then somebody else, another one, we had an hour where somebody vibe coded an app in an hour. And I was like, this is just so I would say get in community, find like-minded people who are trying to figure out the same thing. And
Yes.
it will rising tides float all ships.
Uh,
So go in with an open mind and yeah, it's I find community as an executive is a must-have right now because I think we are in the biggest shift in our lifetimes on multiple levels. And it's just getting in community and learning from other people.
So let's just reiterate for anybody listening that you are in 4 marketing AI groups. And
Yes.
that's just for marketing and AI. And I know you're in other groups because I'm in another group with you. So we can't stress community enough. And tell me just some of the high level benefits of these groups. I mean, obviously you're learning, you're connecting, but what are you taking away that might not be so tangible?
I mean, some of it, like one group I was in, it's like, how are you taking your team through this? So it's not just the functional skills. It's like, no, how are you? It's one of my CPG groups. It's like, how are you taking your teams through this? Do you have
So
a
good.
task force? So it's like somebody walks us through a deck, but then it's like, how did you enroll your team step by step? How are you getting your marketing specialist to do this part? How are you upskilling your entire team? If people are like terrified, how are you addressing that? if somebody's going off the rails and you haven't put governance in place, what does that look like? So I think just the tangible nitty gritty, like, here's how I'm doing it. It's not just the functional skill. Like, AI is a change management initiative. It's the biggest change management initiative of our career. I worked on a plant automation task force a million years ago when I was an engineer. And because we had this massive task force and we mapped out the workflow, it's like, oh, I've seen what this looks like. But Cargill was light years ahead of competition because we had a massive task force, we met monthly, we had KPIs, and it was an ongoing initiative. It wasn't a one and done. And that's like where AI also needs to get now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And like, I remember one of my friends going to a competitor and they had 3 times the employees. I was like, how? And I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, Anne, you and I were meeting with the coders every week, every other week. It was just a baked in initiative. And he's like, our competitors aren't looking at it that way. He's
Wow.
like, and so that's where I think AI is. And having that perspective from Cargill gives me a different perspective going into marketing AI. And then it's like you get in a group with executives and you're all sharing your experience, and it just helps you go to the next level. Or you'll see somebody rolled something out and you're like, oof, I need to catch up on that.
Yeah.
There's also that. And just people using it ways I just wouldn't think of. So it's like, A, to help you understand the change management, B, to help you up level, and C, to just kind of push you a little bit and make you aware of stuff you might not be aware of.
So based on what you're seeing and perhaps from your marketing lens, does AI excite you or does it scare you?
Well, I like change. So
She loves change, everybody.
I think that this is the most exciting time of our career. And you have to figure out how you're going to take your team through it. So I compare it to plant automation. Like, we bought a plant overseas that when I was at Cargill had like 100x the number of employees when you looked at it. And I was like, if you were at that plant, you would wonder, how are they running a facility with 1% of the employees? And then on the flip side, I'm like, what are these people doing?
Are they tripping over each other or?
Like, I don't, but I think that's where it's like you have to be in community with other people. If you're at the plant that has 100x employees, you can't just figure that on your own how to get to 1%. And it's like, when I look back at that, when we're leading on automation, we have vendors that other people don't have. We have processes that other people don't have. We're upskilling labor. Like, you're in a Teamster plant. You're like trying to show these guys, hey, your job is expanding. And how do you train people to go through that? So that's where I find being in community with other executives is so helpful, because it helps you calibrate. Like at Cargill, we had in one facility a computer trailer that we brought on site that we had, you could take a group class, you could go for individual tutoring. The other facilities weren't doing that. And so just by being in community, you hear, oh, hey, Lori, how are you approaching that? How are you upskilling? How are you upskilling in these union plants and getting people to go to the next level? And you're like, oh, you brought a trailer on site and there's training. And it's like, oh, I wouldn't have thought of that. And so it's just, it helps you go faster and further by getting in community with other people and just having real time conversations on how you're doing it.
And those shared ideas.
Yes.
And then they just become exponential, right? It's like the snowball. They just keep snowballing. Yeah.
Well, and you get, hey, what vendors are you using? What vendors worked? What vendors didn't work? What processes are you using? What worked? What didn't work? What kind of training? Like, oh, you're offering group training and one-on-one training. So I remember as a new engineer, I'm like, I can come in here for help with Excel. They're like, you can come in here for help with any IT need that you have. And I was like, I just get a tutor. Like, that's incredible.
I just hit the jackpot.
I hit the jackpot. But like our competitor, when my friend went to a competitor, he's like, we weren't doing any of that. And so it's like, versus if you're just trying to upskill your workforce, but you don't give them any tools, well, it's going to be hard to upskill on your own, right?
For sure. Anything is difficult when you're trying to do it on your own.
Yes.
Anything.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. Community makes all the difference. And I just love that you are setting such a powerful example by being in 4 marketing AI communities, because you're going to learn and you're going to learn faster and you're going to share and you're going to just take that out into the work that you do with all of your clients that you have.
Yeah, and like I said, it's not just upskilling yourself, it's hearing what vendors are
Yes.
people using, what processes are you using, how are you rolling out governance, how are you, it's like it's like one is CPG specific, so exactly how are you using AI and CPG, what's working, what's not working.
Yeah.
It's like another one is like Silicon Valley, they are so far ahead on like just how they're pulling it together. And so it's like, okay, how are they thinking about it and how are they building it? So I think it's fascinating. The fractional group I'm in, how people are doing an individual tech stack. And somebody walked us through an individual tech stack, Lori, and I was like, wait, what are you doing? I didn't even think of those.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can't imagine. I'd be like, let's go back to step 0. Yes. Yes, please. And Anne, you have lots of interests. So not only are you this amazing marketer, this fractional CMO, helping people run their businesses, turn businesses around, but you have lots of passions that you do like outside of your day job. Would you like to talk about a couple of those?
I love anything regarding like mindfulness and intuition. I think intuition is a superpower during all of like I was at an AI event where 5 people presented for 5 minutes. It's somebody who used to run a TED event, so it was a TED inspired event. And I talked, everybody else gave hacking tips, and my tips were on intuition is your superpower with everything happening right now. So I love anything in the intuition, energy, mindfulness space. A second passion is like working out and like being super healthy.
I
Because I
love
think
that.
you have to have a strong, somebody had said tall trees have deep roots, and it's given me a lot of perspective. Like, and you don't see the roots and you don't see what people are doing outside of work. So I'm very passionate about what can you do for deep roots, whether it's mindfulness, healthy eating, working out, those things, because the more I get grounded in that, the higher up I can rise to help other people. And it's like I was coaching somebody and I said, look, self-care is not selfish, because she felt like she just didn't have time for it. And I'm like, it's actually the least selfish thing you can do, because the deeper your roots go, the more you can help other people. But if your roots are shallow, you just can't.
Yeah, you'll fall over.
Yeah.
You'll fall over. Part of that for me on my journey was learning that it was also okay to make an investment in myself.
Yes. 100%.
Not only in the communities that I pay to be a part of, where I can meet amazing women
Yeah.
like you, but also, in growing my spirituality, in growing that intuitive side of me, the meditative side of me. In a couple of days, I'm going to head to Canyon Ranch in Tucson. Yeah, for 5 days. But, there's a younger version of me who would never have made that investment. She would have really said, no, 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 you can't do that. You're not allowed. That's too much. But this evolved version of me is like, oh, hell yes. And we're going and we're going to have stronger roots as a result.
Oh, I just went to Portugal with my mom and sister. I got back. So this is my 9th meeting today.
Oh my gosh.
I am going to make, it was the trip of a lifetime. It was incredible. And I came back with a different perspective and refreshed and excited and ready to go. But the old me would have been, what are you don't have time for this. There's so
You're
much.
not allowed. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, tall trees have deep roots. And I'm like, the deeper you can make your roots, the more counterintuitively, the more you can give back to the world, the more you can help other people, the more I can help businesses achieve what they are meant to achieve. But if you're not taking care of your roots, if you're not nourishing your roots, it makes it really hard.
Yes.
So,
And then to complete that cycle, the more you can receive.
yes.
Right. And to keep that whole cycle going, it is a full circle. So you give and you help and you grow others, but then you actually receive it back whether it's financial, whether it's love, whether it's kindness, what joy, whatever that is. So it does complete that circle.
I love your commitment to joy.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, no, because I've seen so many women get burned out the last few years, like really get burned out. And I'm like, joy is also like, you need joy. Joy is like one of those root pieces. The more joy you have, the higher your tree can go.
Yes. And I am constantly reminding women that joy lives within us and it's a choice. It is a matter of choice. And when we're not in joy, it's only because we're focusing on the stuff that is outside of our hula hoop. It's all the people, all the places, all the things instead of, controlling ourselves. So yeah. You also have some other fun interests that you do. You are a professor, you volunteer for TED. Want to talk about that?
I love it. So I guest lecture, which I think I love talking about marketing. I love marketing. So I'm like, if somebody's like, will you guest lecture? Will you come and talk to our company? Yes, I love it. And
yes, please.
and I've rolled off that I was on the speaker selection committee and I loved it because the TED community in Chicago, whether it's TEDx Chicago, TEDx Naperville, or the other TEDx IIT, those leaders are so passionate about finding ideas that spread, that uplift community. It is just the coolest place to be. So it's like you get to hear all of these cool TED ideas, and then you're really trying to distill which ideas are worth spreading and which ones like elevate community, help community, and it like rising tides float all ships, which ones like raise all of us and make us better. So it's just, if you get a chance to get involved in TED or speak at a TED or any of that, I would tell anybody do it. It is like the most amazing people.
Yes, it is on my vision board.
Do it.
Yes. I think the world needs to hear about joy. More joy, please. Yes.
So, I agree.
For sure. And you get to talk to the graduate students at the Booth School of Business. Is that correct? From time to time?
Yes. The professors I used to speak for have rolled off. But yes, I guest lectured there in the past. And I it's talking about marketing. So
Of course. Amazing. I love that. Love all of those extras for you. And so let's just go back real quick. When a company is in transition and you're working with people who are scared, and listen, a lot of people are scared right now about all of the changes happening for corporate America.
I just read a stat that 77% are scared
to death, right? They're terrified.
Like you're going into companies where, there's just, no matter where you, not to get into politics, no matter where you are in socioeconomically, people are just nervous. And you have AI coming in. And like, I have a different perspective because I was on an automation task force a million years ago as a young engineer. And I'm like, oh, I've seen this. You've got to map out the workflow. You've got to get the right people in place. You're going to have to upskill the labor force. I know how this works. Like, and it's scary. It's hard. It's, everybody wants everything to be perfect. It won't be. There are going to be some trips along the way. You pivot, you make it work. But if you haven't been through that, it's terrifying. Or if you're, I have had coffee with a couple of executives before I went to Portugal that haven't logged into ChatGPT or anything. And I was one of my friends said, girl, you are leading an organization.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about her? Because I said, come on, you can't, come on. She's like, I'm not doing it. And I'm like, you're not just doing it for you, you're doing it for your organization. And it's like, I had a couple of calls today where I'm doing some other AI stuff. We were talking, it's like, you need leaders to embrace it enough so that they can get it started and get it going and like know enough about like, look, even when I was in a plant, could I code? Yes. But did I code? No, because I didn't have enough time. I was running a refinery. So we had coders, but I could talk to the coders and say, hey, here's what we need to do. Hey, we launched this. It's not quite right. Can you tweak this, this, and this? So it's like, you have to know enough to lead your teams through it or to set up the task force. You also have to get if you're not the expert, bring in the experts. If you need a vendor, this is where the salons are helpful, and getting in masterminds is helpful. Like, hey, Lori, who did you use for that? How did you roll that out? Okay. Are any watch outs? Yeah, I like this vendor, but they couldn't do this, this, and this. Okay, that's helpful. I would still hire them, realize this will be their bottleneck. And so that's where it's like, as you're doing this, get the right resources in place, get the right people to help you. But you've like, it's here. So it's like, it's embracing it and just moving forward.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So to your friend, just log on. Please be the power of example. Yes. Okay.
I'm like, you can get out your iPhone now and download the app. And she's like, no. Like,
okay. Okay. Well, we're all encouraging her. Yes. Okay. So for these 77% who statistically have spoken up and said, I'm afraid, maybe even terrified of the state of corporate America right now, how do we help move them through that fear?
I mean, first it's acknowledging it. Hey, this is scary. I get it. Here's the direction that we're going. Here's your role, highlighting somebody's role. Like when we work in Teamster plants, here's the ways to upskill. Like, hey, your job is changing. It's going to give you the benefits to you. It's going to give you more scope. It's going to give you more job stability by having more scope. So highlighting the positives, highlighting the role, the benefits to them, and then saying, hey, here's how we're going to get there. I get that this is scary. We're going to have training. We're going to have group training and one-on-one training. You're not going to have to figure this out by yourself. If you want to do self-study, here are the options. Here's how the change is happening. So I think people are terrified when they don't know anything. Even the unknown. Like when we were doubling the refinery back in the day, hey, here's the process. I like change. I know not everybody else does. Here's the process for how I don't want it to happen to you. I want this to happen with you. And so here's the process. Here's going to be your role. And here's going to be the tools that are available to help you. Here's going to be somebody else who can help you. So I think highlighting that, having check-ins along the way, showing them, like taking them on the journey with you, because nobody wants it to happen to them. They want to be a part of it.
Yes. It's those surprises.
Yeah. And celebrating wins along the way. Like,
for sure.
Really taking time. It's easy to get so heads down and scared right now that you forget, like, hey, somebody opened the app and logged in and they didn't want to. Yeah. So it's like, if you can gamify it or celebrate wins and those pieces, just using psychology to help people go through it. But yeah, it's if you feel like everything is happening to you, it's very scary. Helping give people agency makes it less scary.
Yes, agreed. And, one of the things that really inspires me the most about you is that you've had this constant reinvention. So even if things are changing in the way we've known work up until this point, you are one of those people who really demonstrates that, listen, we can pivot. We can take the skills and the experience that we are bringing with us to this point in time and do something different with it. And I love that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think you have to have your own personal superheroes that you kind of look at them and are like, oh, I mean, I remember when somebody 10 years older than me was interviewing and people said some horrible things. And she called me on her way home. And I was like, she goes, so I've reframed it and here's what I can control and here's what I can't control. And, maybe there is an opportunity to upskill in a few areas. And like, oh, if I'm in something, I like pull her off the shelf and I'm like, oh, here's how she handled it. Or you can like look at another like personal superhero and like, oh, how did they handle it? And you like look at your shelf and be like, oh, she was amazing with the way she handled this. Or so I think you have to like find examples of people who've done it. Because if you feel like you're the only one doing it, it's kind of scary. But as you try to pivot and change and turn, if you can find somebody else who's done it, if you can talk to them, even better. But like, how did they do it? And there are like tons of real world examples out there.
I think you're so right because our human brain can also say it's impossible. It can't be done. And
Yeah.
then you get caught in those loops until you see where somebody actually did it and it is in fact possible. And then your brain has to recalibrate and rewire to the fact that, oh, wait, this can be done.
It's
How
getting it's
how
getting
do I do it? Yeah.
it's getting in community. Because if you're in a community where 20 people are saying, this can't be done, it's horrible, look at what's happening to us, it impacts you. Like, be very conscious of who you're surrounding yourself with. If you
Yes.
pivot to another community where it's like, oh, my CPG marketing mastermind group, it's like, oh, what did you do? Oh, that's cool. Oh, the team was really resistant. Here's how I approached it. Oh, I tried this vendor. I would go with that vendor. And it's like, if you get in community and people start showing you what's possible, and if they're transparent about, hey, I tried this and it didn't work. I tried that. Don't do it that way. It's so inspiring and helpful. But if you're in another community where they're like, it's not possible, you're not going to get a job because of your age, you're not going to get a job because of whatever, like it becomes your story. Whether
The
you're
truth, your truth.
yeah, whether you mean it to be or not. And so it's like that's why it's really, I think especially right now as we're in so much change, it's just being very conscious of, to your point earlier, what thoughts am I choosing?
Yes.
And who am I choosing to be around? And what personal superheroes or what people can I talk to that are doing it or leading the way or pivoting or shifting? It's so helpful. And it gives you just a different perspective.
Yes. Yes. I run a community of women called The Connect, and there's about 30 of us, and it's really all about this. How can we raise the tide so all the ships rise and connect in a way that we're always seeking to just be accountable, get better, push the envelope? And it's been really powerful, the caliber of women that have come in and what's really being accomplished. And it impresses me every time I show up.
I love that because if you're in that community, it's like, yes, you're giving, but then you're receiving. It's like, oh, I gave that, but I saw, oh, here's how somebody else did it. I can receive that. And then we all lift each other up. Because the
Yes.
alternative, I don't want to be in the group where we're all pushing each other down. Like
Never.
that's not fun for anybody. It's like,
No.
how do I help you? How do you help me? How do we all raise each other up? I think it's
Yes.
more exciting.
Yes. For sure. For sure. Okay. We have had such a tremendous
Yeah.
conversation. Let's tell everybody how they can find you and learn more about you and some of your services.
Just reach out to me on LinkedIn. That's probably the easiest way.
LinkedIn, Anne Hoeger, Hoeger.
Yes.
And such a pleasure to get to talk to you today, Anne.
I loved it. I really enjoyed talking to you too.
Yes, me too. Thank you for being with us. Again, I'm Lori Pine, the Joy CEO, and we are so glad to have had you with us today. We will see you back next week.